Hi there, welcome back. So I've been away for a little while, had a few other house renovations on and stuff. So tonight we're going to be doing the headstock bearings in here on the Honda Cb600. Basically sitting there and up there. They're all notchy, they need changing. So first things first, strip down the front end so we can get to the bearings. So as you can see after that short little episode, obviously you have a lot hanging down, a lot of cables. Just make sure you're not pulling on any, hence why I've hung this one up. Obviously same with the brake lines, make sure you're not catching anything, make sure they're not stretching the lines. So I've removed the top yoke. Now in here you've got some locking tabs. We'll take them off, just knock them down with a screwdriver, and then we should be able to undo this. As you can see, they're a little bit loose anyway, which is not ideal. And then we shall take the bottom yoke out, this one, drop out the bottom, and then we should be able to start seeing the bearings. So as you can see here, that locking tab, so over that one, bent the ears out on that one, and then see, you was able to remove then that one off of that. These aren't that tight, you just need a small nip, so you should be able to get yourself a pair of pliers. If you haven't got the correct tool, and just undo that. That then is obviously holding the whole thing, so this will then start to drop out, hopefully. See, that's hard to show you. It's got up and down movement on it now, so you should be able to wind this nut all the way off, and then the bottom yoke should come out. So having removed the top nut, see there's the top bearing, that's the bottom bearing. You can then hook the bearing out, which is, to be honest, looking a little dry. And then in there you've got the race that we're now popping out in order for us to get the new one in. So to get the bottom one out, you want something long with an angle or a foot on it. This little lever bar is perfect. It's a bit hard to show you on a video. What you want to do is get it in there and get it to that lip, and just give it a light tap all the way around with a hammer, and then you'll get it out. And there you have bottom race that would have set up that way. That would then on this, just to show you, sits on there. Obviously this is solid in the frame, which allows it to turn. So what happened was, these have become notchy, so these wear, you get little divots on here. I shall clean them up later and I shall show you. Oh, you can actually see some there. See the little pinpoints? So where basically the bearings sit all the time, and it causes a little bit of notching. So that's it. I'm going to do the same for this one, just in reverse. So put the lever bar up from underneath, poke it out from the top. There you can see I've done the same with that one. Comes out. So you're not damaging any of this. It's all nice. There's that top race. As I said before, we'll sit on there. Now this one I actually looked at earlier, and you can see in that one there's there's a few hard dimples. It's a bit difficult, but you see that one there, and there's another one there, and that's where each and every one of those balls are sitting. And all the time and base it's just chattering and wearing, and then when you come off that stop you get a gudunk rather than a nice free spinning bearing. So install the new bearing shells in there and up in there. Just give them a light tap with a hammer. Obviously it's recessed a little bit, so what you can do is you can get the old bearing shell and just give that a tap in as well. Then you can just hook that out, and you know you're at the right depth. It'll only go as far as it can go because there's a seat in there, as you saw earlier, and the same again with that one, it'll only go in as far. I've also put the new dust sheet on shield on there. As you can see, I've painted these up. New bearing on there. Just get a bit of tube if you can, length of that, just gently knock that down so it stops and sits on there. What I'm going to do now is pack this full of grease, and then we can put it back together. So already put it back in the bike, put a bit of oil on the threads there. That's got grease on it, this one's got grease in it. So you're going to put that up inside, put that top bearing on. There's a dust boot, first locking nut, then we'll put that one on top, and then that one will go on top of there. Obviously good idea to lay all this out, and then you can just crack on. So I got it back in the bike, tighten this down, then back it off a little bit and then just nip it, and then that way you've got the bearings set correctly in there and seated. You can then pop this washer on, get that nut, wind that down, and you get it to a point where those locking tabs line up. And that, lock them in, and then carry on. Right, got the top yoke back on it now. So what you want to remember, obviously you don't want to tighten this up yet, the top nut, until you've got your forks in, because obviously if they're wonky they're not going to go in straight. So the next job is get the forks in, just nip them up because we're at the top, and they can slide down, sit in the bottom ones, and then we can tighten this top nut up, and then yeah. Now we've got the front forks in, so I've tightened the pinch bolts up here. As you can see, these are loose because this needs to be able to squash together if you was to tighten this. Now I'm purposely not going to tell you what the torque settings are, you need to look them up for your own bike. I don't want to be giving people the wrong information, so find the torque settings, torque them up, that's what they need to be. That nut under there, the original castle nut, that hasn't got a torque, that's called preload. That's just basically done down to feel, rather than a torque. But this is definitely torqued, this is torqued, and obviously anything else, handlebars, obviously later, brake caliper bolts, these will be torqued. But yeah, look them up yourselves, find the right torques for your own bike, because like I say, they could be different, and I don't want to give you the wrong information. And there we go, all back together, front wheel in, brakes on, nice and free, that's what we want.